But we can't take a chance after having done this incredible thing last night of letting somebody else take over, where we have to do it again. We can do it again, too. Nobody can stop us. There's nobody that has the capability that we have. You know, when I watch that war in Russia going on and on and on and everybody dying, and it's like it's primitive. It's primitive. It's horrible.
As everyone knows, the oil business in Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust, for a long period of time. They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could have been pumping and what could have taken place. We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
This is my video update on this Sunday afternoon, January the 4th, coming to you from Nicosia, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news, Mr. Bean. And let's start things off with Venezuela. Actually, the whole video is going to be on Venezuela because there is a lot to get to. And we will start with Trump's statements following the capture of Maduro, following the kidnapping of Maduro. So Trump, he said that the U.S. will be involved in Venezuela. They are going to run the show in Venezuela. They are going to govern Venezuela for as long as it takes, and they're going to put together some sort of a transitional government, but they're going to basically run the show. They're going to be very much involved in the running of Venezuela. And they're also going to take the oil. Yep, they are going to take the oil. The big U.S. oil companies are going to come into Venezuela, and they're going to fix up, according to Trump, all the messed up infrastructure, and they're going to get all of that oil. That is what Trump said. With regards to the resources, the oil, not only oil, Venezuela has all kinds of rare earth minerals as well. A whole lot of rare earth. And gold. They got gold. So that is what he said about the oil, which is one of the main reasons why we had this operation. Had nothing to do with narco-terrorism. It was a regime change. And they're going to get the oil. They're going to get the rare earths. They're going to run the country, too. He warned Cuba. He warned Mexico. He warned Colombia. They could be next, at least in the Western Hemisphere. And Trump said that the Western Hemisphere is the U.S.'s hemisphere. And no country will dare threaten U.S.'s security in the Western Hemisphere, because Venezuela was threatening U.S. security in the Western Hemisphere, right? Right. So that's what he said about that. He said that China's not going to be upset with this operation. He was mocking China. He was mocking China because this is very humiliating for China. I wonder if their diplomats got out of Venezuela after the operation, because Chinese diplomats were in Venezuela. They signed all kinds of deals with Maduro, and then a couple of hours later, Maduro was on a plane heading to New York, where he is facing narco-terrorist charges or narcotics charges. He's being charged with having a machine gun, carrying a machine gun or something like that. Ridiculous charges against Maduro. Actually, I don't even know. Was he charged with narcotics or narco-terrorism? I'll get to the charges in a bit. I'll talk about that in a little while. And he said that China's not going to be upset because China's going to get some oil. That is what Trump said. They're not going to be mad at us mocking China because they're going to get some oil. And he said that this was not discussed with Russia or with Putin. He was asked about that as well. And he said that he's not afraid of Putin. He said, I'm not afraid of Putin. Why should he be? Why should he be afraid of Putin? For Russia, Trump is the rational, pragmatic peace president, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Witkoff schedules another trip to Moscow. But he talked about the operation, and there was no operation like this ever in the history of the world. This was the greatest operation that only the United States could have pulled this off. He said that there was an exact house, a replica of Maduro's house, even down to the staircase in the United States, and the U.S. Special Forces, they practiced the operation at this replica house. He was on Fox News, or he phoned into Fox News, and he talked a bit more about the operation. I believe he mocked Russia some more. He said that he's disappointed in Putin. He's not happy with Putin. He's not afraid of Putin. Then he also said that he's not happy with Putin. He thought that the Russia-Ukraine war was going to be an easy one to settle, but it has not been easy, and he's very disappointed and unhappy with the Russian president. And I believe he said something to mock Russia, some comment, a snarky comment about how this operation was not like what's happening with Russia or the Russian military. Their operation is primitive, and the operation with Maduro, the special military operation against Maduro, was nothing ever seen before in the history of the world. And what Russia is doing is, with the conflict in Ukraine, is taking forever. It's slow and it's very primitive. So he said that as well. Fitting for this video, I guess. He also said that Machado has no support, no respect, and no support. So she's not going to be the puppet leader, which is an interesting statement from Trump, because the narrative coming out of the West is that Machado and, I believe his name is Gonzalez, Edmundo Gonzalez, or Rodrigo Gonzalez, I forgot who was, one second, who was with Machado running against Maduro in the last elections. I know I have it bookmarked. Give me 1 minute. Edmundo Gonzalez, right. So the narrative was that the last elections were stolen by Maduro, and all the popular support was with Machado and Gonzalez. And then Trump makes the admission that Machado is not popular at all. She has no respect and no support. Oopsie from Trump, right? There goes that narrative of Maduro stealing the elections in Venezuela. So he said that about Machado, and most likely she will end up being a type of vice president. At least that's what the experts are saying, the analyst experts. It'll be Gonzalez and then Machado, or perhaps Trump is going to stay with Delcy Rodriguez, who was the vice president, and now she is the acting president of Venezuela, and she is saying that she's going to stay loyal to Maduro. That's what her early statements are saying. She will remain loyal to Maduro, loyal to his government. She is calling on the Trump administration to release and return Maduro, like that's going to happen. That's not going to happen. China is also demanding that the Trump administration release and return Maduro. That's not going to happen. But it's Rodriguez and the defense minister that are running the show in Venezuela. And we also found out that Rubio spoke to Rodriguez, and this leads me to believe that the United States is going to keep Delcy Rodriguez in place. I imagine she's saying all this stuff publicly about support for Maduro in order to keep everything calm as she works with Rubio. This is just my guess as she works with Rubio and the United States for whatever transition they're planning. I believe I read somewhere that Stephen Miller and Rubio are indeed planning the next steps for what happens in Venezuela, how the United States is going to run Venezuela. They're planning that out right now. They probably should have planned it out beforehand, but I read somewhere that Miller and Rubio are preparing for the next phase. There are reports saying that Delcy Rodriguez might go against Trump, but I don't think that's going to happen. If I had to take a guess, I don't think that's what we're going to see. Trump did say that if there are people in Venezuela, if there are government officials or military officials in Venezuela who cause trouble and who rise up and continue to support Maduro or prevent the U.S. from pushing their transition forward, from moving the transition forward, then he said that the United States is going to hit Venezuela again, a second strike, and it's going to be devastating. That's what he said. So basically, he sent out the message to everybody in Venezuela, even if there are forces that are loyal to Maduro and perhaps they're thinking about some sort of insurgency. This also goes for Delcy Rodriguez as well. If they're thinking about any type of insurgency or something like that, Trump put out the message that the United States is going to hit them really hard. So you're going to have the United States. They're telling everybody in Venezuela, don't think about it. Don't think about rising up. If you do, we're going to smash you. And on the flip side, they're probably also telling the same people, work with us. We'll We'll make sure you're taken care of. I'm sure they'll bribe them. They'll probably also tell them that they'll receive amnesty. They can travel to the United States. Their families can go to the United States. So, I mean, they'll use a carrot and stick. So I do not anticipate, at least in the very, very short term, not in the medium and long term. The medium and long term, I think all of this is going to unravel. But in the very immediate short term, I don't see how there's going to be any uprising. Rodriguez's father was, according to Craig Murray, was tortured to death by the CIA-backed Venezuelan regime led by the same families behind Machado. So that's an interesting fact right there. So the acting president's father was tortured by the Machado, the families behind the Nobel Prize winner Machado. We're getting information from the New York Times that the CIA had officers in Venezuela as early as August. That's ridiculous. That's a joke. The CIA has had officers in Venezuela forever. But the operation in Venezuela, I'm sure was put into motion a year ago, maybe even during Biden's presidency. They started to put all of this together, this operation to capture and remove Maduro or decapitate Maduro. I'm sure that this has been in the making for a long, long time. So Trump posted on Truth Social what is the first photo of Maduro. A lot of fake AI photos of Maduro, but Trump posted the image of Maduro on board the USS Iwo Jima, blindfolded and wearing his tracksuit, his Nike clothes. That's what people are saying. He's wearing his Nike as he's being transported to New York. I've read posts which claim that this photo is AI that Trump posted, but I don't think so. For Trump to post this on Truth Social, I doubt that it's AI. Elon Musk congratulated Trump. Rare earth. Lots of rare earths for Musk in Venezuela, right? So he said, congratulations, President Trump. This is a win for the world and a clear message to evil dictators everywhere. Yep, that's the message that they sent out. If you're a dictator, we're going to come after you. That's the message. Lindsey Graham was so happy. So happy, Lindsey Graham. He posted on X, to my Chinese friends, in case you were planning to follow up with Maduro, he has a new address. It will be difficult to schedule another appointment, but I know he means a lot to you. Good luck. Oh, by the way, quit propping up narco-terrorist dictators like Maduro. Quit buying oil from Putin that is keeping his war machine flush with cash, and reconsider propping up the Ayatollah in Iran, a religious NAZI, by buying his oil. China has aligned itself with every bad actor on the planet, keeping conflict ablaze. It's time they pay a price for the chaos they are sowing. So there you have it, guys. In this one tweet, Lindsey Graham lays out the plan. He lays it out there. If China and Russia do not take this warning seriously from Lindsey Graham, and Iran, if they do not heed this warning from Lindsey Graham, well then what can you say? What can you say? They have been warned by Lindsey Graham. They've been warned by everybody, Russia, China, Iran. But Lindsey Graham lays it all out there in this one post. Iran is next. They've got the asymmetric war set up for Project Ukraine. So that's being set up as Putin is trying to get a diplomatic solution with the neutral mediator known as U.S. President Trump. Trump is setting up the asymmetric war with Budanov in place. They've got the drones going after the oil tankers. They've got the drones hitting the refineries, pinprick attacks. But they're crossing. They have crossed, and they will continue to cross every Russian red line. And then it's China, right? And arms shipments to Taiwan, a couple of arms shipments to Taiwan. And that's the plan laid out courtesy of Lindsey Graham. But before we get to Iran, before we get to the asymmetric war with Russia, and before we get to finally going after China, my guess is that Denmark is going to be next. Greenland, not Denmark. Greenland. Well, Denmark. Denmark, Greenland, right? Yeah. That's what's next. As posted by Stephen Miller's wife, who has the podcast where she interviews all of the Trump administration. She posted a map of Greenland in the red, white, and blue. So we know what's coming next. That'll be easy. Greenland will be really easy. Yeah, Denmark's going to complain. Yeah. The EU's going to complain. They'll whine and they'll complain. International law and allies and partners and blah, 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 blah. And Trump's just going to take Greenland. And once he takes Greenland, then he moves closer to Europe, right? And then he could really, really push the Europeans towards Russia as they ramp up for a conflict with Russia. So the United States will be in Greenland. They can really push the Europeans, supply the Europeans from Greenland. Brian Berletic has gone over this on the new Atlas, and they've got the Arctic and all of that. But basically, they'll be right there to supply and push the Europeans forward into a smash with Russia. So Greenland will be very important for the United States. That's what's next. Greenland. The Telegraph has an article with the title, Venezuela Attack Strengthens Trump Against His Real Enemy, China. Seizing Maduro is risky, but sends a clear message about U.S. might and potentially secures vast oil reserves. I had trouble reading that title. I don't know why. Yeah. China. How does Trump say it? China. I like it. I like it a lot. He's going to put the squeeze on China. Rare earths. He's got the rare earths now in Venezuela. Rare earths that are vital to weapons production. He's got the oil. He's got the rare earths. Embarrassed China. Humiliated China. China depends on Venezuela, or China was dependent on Venezuela for energy, very dependent on Iran as well. Once he takes those two out, that's the plan, take those two out. China's going to be extremely dependent on Russia. With Venezuela, now China's going to be very dependent on Russia going forward, Russia and Iran. But they're going to deal with, they'll get Greenland, then they're going to go after Iran. And as they're doing all of this, they'll keep the pressure on Russia. And they've got their pieces in place to continue to do that. As they dangle the mediation, the negotiations for Putin, they're going to be dangling the rapprochement for Putin. Dmitriev in Miami, Witkoff in Moscow, they'll continue to dangle that in front of Putin. A 20-point peace plan, a 30-point peace plan, a 90-point peace plan. I like Putin. I don't like Putin. I like Putin. I'm disappointed at Putin. They'll keep that going for the next year or so. But Lindsey Graham laid it all out. He laid it all out there. So Zelensky was asked about Maduro, and Zelensky's comment was Venezuela, how should we respond to this? Is this how dictators are treated? Then the U.S. knows what to do next. That was Zelensky's response. The U.S. knows what to do next. People think that the U.S. is going to go after Zelensky, perhaps. I don't think so. I do not think so. Zelensky was smiling as he said this. He was smiling. Rubio said that Maduro, he likes to play games and thinks nothing will happen. I hope people understand President Trump is not a game player. He wanted to play big boy. If you don't know, now you know. I think this was in reference to Maduro, where Rubio said he likes to play games and thinks nothing will happen. Or this was just a general message from Rubio. Yeah, Rubio put everyone on notice. He said if you're a dictator, if you're an autocrat, if you're a dictator, whatever, you're in trouble. That's what Rubio said. Pretty much, I'm summarizing what he said. But that was his message to all the despots and the dictators and the autocrats. Trump is coming for you. Hegseth said that the U.S. will dictate Venezuela's future after Maduro's capture. The U.S. now owns Venezuela. They're going to be running Venezuela. J.D. Vance said, and PSA for everyone saying this was illegal. Maduro has multiple indictments in the United States for narcoterrorism. You don't get to avoid justice for drug trafficking in the United States because you live in a palace in Caracas. Robert Barnes posted in reply to Vance's post, if it's now legal to use domestic law enforcement to invade foreign nations, then every nation in the world can invade any other to arrest their leader on trumped-up domestic charges. Legality required extradition to avoid such kidnapping campaigns. Exactly right. Are you telling us, J.D. Vance, what a disappointing post from J.D. Vance, are you telling us that any country now can come up with charges against the world leader, domestic charges against the world leader, and that gives them the right to go after that world leader, to kidnap that world leader? Are those the new rules? It looks like it. It looks like those are the new rules. Bondi's charges, her indictment, is in New York. I believe the Southern District of New York is where all of the legal stuff is going to unfold. Thomas Massey posted, if this action were constitutionally sound, the Attorney General wouldn't be tweeting that they've arrested the president of a sovereign country and his wife for possessing guns in violation of a 1934 U.S. firearm law. Massey also posted 25-page indictment, but no mention of fentanyl or stolen oil. Search it for yourself. And Arnaud Bertrand said, we're so collectively desensitized to the U.S. empire that we're not even registering the absurdity. The U.S., a country where guns are sold at Walmart, has just kidnapped the president of a sovereign nation and head of the army to charge him with possession of machine guns. That's what it was. Possession of machine guns is the charge for Maduro. Can't make this stuff up. So what was the European reaction? What was the European reaction to all of this? The EU, the UK? How have they reacted to this? Sanctions, freezing of assets. Are they going to freeze the U.S. assets at Euroclear? International law. This goes against international law. We're outraged. How dare Trump do such a thing? How dare the United States kidnap the leader of a sovereign country? Is that the reaction from the Europeans? Keir Starmer is a lawyer. I believe he's a human rights lawyer. Isn't he a human rights lawyer? I think he's a human rights lawyer. I imagine that 008 Keir Starmer, as a human rights lawyer, was outraged at what has just happened. Hate Maduro, Love Maduro, doesn't matter. Human rights, human rights. Law is law, right? International law is international law. How can the United States kidnap the leader of Venezuela? Well, Keir Starmer's reaction was, I'm waiting for guidance from Washington before forming an opinion. I'm waiting for guidance from Washington before forming an opinion. And hats off to the journalist that was questioning Keir Starmer. She said, look, this is going against international law. Surely, Mr. Prime Minister, this is breaking international law, right? And Keir Starmer was, look, I'm going to wait for guidance from the United States before I form an opinion. Pathetic, sad. The Prime Minister of Greece, Mr. Mitsotakis, said Nicolas Maduro presided over a brutal and repressive dictatorship that brought about unimaginable suffering on the Venezuelan people. The end of his regime offers new hope for the country. This is not the time to comment on the legality of the recent actions. It's not the time. Let's not talk about legality. Let's talk about that later. Now is not the time. It's just not the time to talk about the legality of all of this. Macron posted his support for the Trump administration for what they did. Ursula von der International Law, she posted on X, following very closely the situation in Venezuela. We stand by the people of Venezuela and support a peaceful and democratic transition. Any solution must respect international law and the UN Charter. With HRVP Kaya Kallis and in coordination with EU member states, we are making sure the EU citizens in the country can count on our full support. I think she made a mistake in this post, Ursula von der Leyen. She said that we are making sure that EU citizens in the country can count on our full support. I'm sure she meant that Ukrainian citizens in the country can count on our full support. What is she talking about? EU citizens? When has Ursula cared about EU citizens? That's right, but she's watching very closely. She's watching very, very closely, along with stunning and brave Kaya Kallis. They're watching very, very closely at how this all develops, right? She supports a peaceful transition. A peaceful democratic transition. Yeah, this does kind of fall in line with democracy as defined by the EU, huh? It makes sense. This is kind of a democratic transition for the European Union. What's happening in Venezuela? It's kind of falls in the lines, between the lines of how they define democracy. You know, have a couple of votes until you get the result that you want. Remove the leading candidate, like in the case of Romania. Capture, kidnap the president and move another government into place. It's democracy. It's democracy, according to van der Law, Kaya Kallis. She posted, I have spoken with Secretary of State Marco Rubio and our ambassador in Caracas. The EU is closely monitoring the situation in Venezuela. We know, Ursula told us. The EU has repeatedly stated that Mr. Maduro lacks legitimacy and has defended a peaceful transition. Under all circumstances, the principles of international law and the UN Charter must be respected. We call for restraint. The safety of EU citizens in the country is our top priority. I think the UN Charter and international law has been trashed. I mean, you've kidnapped the president, so how can you respect respect international law at this point, right? There's no international law anymore. That's over. That's done. That's been trashed. Oh, you have to respect now going forward. International law must be respected now going forward. Okay, got it. Let's not talk about the legality, as Mitsotakis said. Let's not talk about all the legality stuff. Let's get the puppet government in place in Caracas. Let's get that government in place. And then let's talk about international law and the UN Charter. I got it. I got it now. I see how it works. I see how it all goes. What are they going to say when Trump goes after Greenland? Well, when Trump takes Greenland, what are they going to say? Nothing. They're not going to say anything. That's what's going to happen. They're going to say absolutely nothing. What did BlackRock Mertz say? Nicolas Maduro has led his country into ruin. That's coming from Mertz. Really? Really, Mertz? Maduro led his country into ruin? Really, Mertz? Anyway, let's continue. Nicolas Maduro has led his country into ruin. The most recent election was rigged. Like many other countries, we have therefore not recognized his presidency. Maduro has played a problematic role in the region. The legal assessment of the U.S. intervention is complex and requires careful consideration. International law remains the guiding framework. At this stage, political instability in Venezuela must be avoided. The objective is an orderly transition to an elected government. When they do regime change, they're all on the same page when they do regime change, aren't they? International law, a smooth transition, a peaceful transition. We've removed the guy we don't like. We've removed the guy we don't recognize. And now we're calling on international law to be respected. Now we're calling on international law to be respected, and we need a smooth transition to make the regime change complete. Oh, boy. Eric Trump said the FAFO era continues. That's what Eric Trump said. FAFO. What else? Gideon Rachman, I believe he writes for either The Guardian or the Financial Times or both. I'm not sure. But he said, so when China launches a special op to seize the president of Taiwan, or Russia tries to do the same for Zelensky, what exactly do we say? You can't do that? It's illegal? Yes, that's exactly what they're going to say. That's exactly what the UK and Europe and the United States is going to say. Not that China or Russia are going to do anything like that. They're not going to do anything like that. But if they were to do something like that, yeah, they would say it's, Ursula would say this is outrageous. This is breaking international law, and this goes against the rules-based order. And we need to place more sanctions on Russia. The United States would say the same. The UK would say the same, absolutely. And then they would give all kinds of money and weapons and all kinds of three-letter agencies to escalate, put all kinds of three-letter agencies in place to try and escalate things even further if Russia or China were to do something like this. Absolutely. It's illegal. It's illegal when other countries do it. It's not illegal when the U.S. does it. The guy that was the head of the Munich Security Conference posted on X, if the U.S. intervenes in Venezuela now without a UN mandate, the argument that Russia was in no way allowed to intervene in Ukraine without invoking the UN Security Council loses political and international legal value. Or these people just don't get it. They just don't understand how international law and the rules-based order works. So we have protests breaking out in various cities around the world against what the U.S. has done. We also have protests breaking out in various countries around the world, for example, in Argentina, in favor of what the U.S. has done. So let's do some clown worlds and we'll wrap up this video. So many clown worlds to get to. So many memes to talk about. Here's a meme of Ursula. The EU condemns Russia for U.S. invasion in Venezuela. That's right. That's right. How about this Biden meme? If I were president, this war would never have started. How about a real post from Iceland Crickets? This is real. Venezuela has oil. Greenland has rare earth minerals. Luckily, Iceland has only volcanoes, glaciers, and very average cricketers. You're very lucky if you're a country without oil today. You're very lucky if you're a country without resources in today's world, in today's piracy world. How about this from the Department of State? This is real. President Trump is a man of action. If you don't know, now you know. Don't play games with President Trump. And then on Instagram, the White House posted FAFO. They like that, FAFO. Don't play games. Don't play games with President Trump. So that's the video, everybody. The Duran.locals.com. We're on X, we're on Rumble, we're on Telegram. And like this video, share this video. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch. Look for us on Substack. I will see everyone tomorrow. Take care.